So I'm Jan with Chains Atlas, and we've been doing interoperability for the last 2-3 years. And now we are creating the first truly trustless on-chain AI agents. Basically, we do what Ethereum back in the days did to software, we do to AI. So you have a truly trustless, censorship-resistant AI on-chain. And we combine it with our interoperability tech, so that's the cool part. In that spirit, I realized 3 days ago I need slides, and I had them AI generated. Got the XRPL guys a little bit nervous this morning, but thanks for making it happen and having them here. So what's the problem here? Why do we need interoperability, and how does it combine with AI? Let's start with the interoperability. Last time I held a speech on this, that was a few months ago. I checked CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, all these places for listings, and I found it was 300 plus smart contract platforms. So you have a lot of chains on which you can build, on which you can do things. But many of them are not really that compatible. It's not really that easy to make them work with each other. Right? So what that leads to is a lot of fragmentation of liquidity. And all this is built basically on a developer pool that at the last numbers was 20 to 50,000 active developers. Now you compare this to something like the JavaScript developer community, and you're in the 15 million range, I think, last time I checked. Might be wrong, but it's up there. It's in the tens of millions. Now, what is interoperability? We basically always define it as 3 different stages. There's interoperability of code, something like an EVM environment, where I can use the same Solidity code on a different chain. Quite simple. It's still isolated once it runs, but it is basically the same code I can use. Then there's interoperability of information. So basically, one smart contract on chain A can talk to smart contract on chain B. There is something like layer 0, something like Chainlink, right, where I can make things talk to each other. Oracle networks. And there's interoperability of the actual computation. That's something that doesn't really exist. That's something we created, which is possible with our technology. In a classical computing space, that already exists. Something like I have my software running on one machine. I basically have it virtualized, as it's called. I turn it off. I travel to Australia. I turn it on again. I start exactly where I started earlier. The same could work with smart contracts on chains. I compute half of it on this chain. I move it over. I finish the computation on the second chain, make use of that liquidity there, and so on and so forth. That's very technical, I know, but there are different forms of interoperability that are possible. We usually just think in terms of, OK, I move my coins from A to B. So how can that work together with AI? How is AI coming into the picture here? Think about, OK, I have all these fractured different chains that have different abilities, different specific things I can do with them. Then I have liquidity all over the place. Let's say just a few weeks ago, I was asked to pay something in USDT. I said, OK, I have some in a certain chain. I wanted to pay, then better do this one. Then if you don't want to go to a centralized exchange, you need to find a bridge, which introduces a centralized element. You need to find a way to get it over there, maybe from different chains. It takes a long time to actually get there if you do it manually. Now, what AI is actually doing best is automating these processes. Understanding with intelligence, OK, I know this guy has all kinds of liquidity in these chains. I just combine them to the best route. I do that in seconds. Yeah? So that is the one thing where AI, in combination with a true interoperability protocol that works, can do wonderful things. The other thing is, imagine you want to find arbitrage trading between chain A and chain B. You just tell your AI, OK, find me the best liquidity, find the best opportunities there. Imagine it can generate the right smart contracts, the right logic on those chains, deploy it, trade it for you, you get the proceeds. And you basically just prompted one text. That's when you really get the power of all this fragmentation that might have seemed like a problem before suddenly becomes a benefit to you, because you can really make best use of it. A human probably couldn't easily, but an AI certainly can. Now imagine that AI lives fully on-chain, and you're completely decentralized. You have full control over it. And we're moving into a very different world. So the real-world impact is really a combination of AI agents. The problem is with AI agents and AI in blockchain right now, I introduce a heavily centralized element. If I right now use, let's say, OpenAI or Google or whatever model is out there to create my AI agent, I'm basically saying, OK, I trust you. You're not changing your API. You're not doing fundamental changes to the underlying model. But I remember about 13, 14 years ago, there was a bunch of startups that used Facebook API. One little change, and all of them died. So you really want that? Is that in line with what blockchain should be? Probably not. So you want this as decentralized and on-chain as possible and transparent as possible. You need the infrastructure in the background, and that's a bit what I talked about earlier. AI can help you optimize the infrastructure it uses to actually make things happen. It finds the right liquidity in the right places, it finds the right computation in the right places for you, and executes it. And we talked about the developers. That's another thing where AI can help. Yes, there are not that many developers in the Web3 space, but we can do a lot now without really needing to write code. Vibe coding has really become a thing nowadays. So we mentioned already you can optimize your financial cost using this approach. You get rid of the developer bottleneck. And you have a very streamlined approach to facilitating structure in a very unstructured and very fragmented environment. And that's where AI really comes into play. But it needs the right interoperability framework as well to make that happen. So the goal, and where we all want to be, I at least believe, and this is the future I envision, is where Web3 is really a technology framework in the background that people use. I use an AI agent front end. I talk to my AI agent and tell it, OK, I have this much of disposable income. I want to invest it with this risk strategy. Do it for me. And I need an AI that I can trust, that I can trust with my funds, that I know understands blockchain, that can make the best use and get the best deal for me. And that only works in an environment I just described. So yeah, basically have a ChatGPT and I tell it, make me rich. Not sure it works that easily, but. In the background for all the developers, though, it also means you have a completely AI-native approach to generate new protocols. And I've seen people generating in a Web2 space, vibe coding new software on a weekend. It might not be perfect, but it's a great MVP to work on for later. So it will also enable you to build new protocols and try them out much quicker than it was before. And that's it. If there are any questions, I'll be around in the background. I think we have a minute left. If you want to ask something now, we currently can facilitate that as well. And thanks a lot, everyone.